More emergency aid for small businesses, another huge spike in unemployment claims, and raising the specter of states going bankrupt. Those are just some of the economic issues that are making headlines this week. Here to talk about that and more is CBS News senior business analyst Jill Schlesinger. Jill, let's start with the unemployment. Right now, 12 million Americans are receiving unemployment benefits. It's a record number, more than twice the worst that we saw back in 2009. So with that in mind, what is the job outlook and the economic outlook going forward?
Well, let's look at the broader economic output. We are already in a recession. We'll get our first numbers that show that probably on Wednesday from the government. But it's the second quarter. Those numbers won't be reported for a month or two, and that's going to be devastating. We could see a decline of about 15 to 20% from last year, a quarter over quarter as well, a big decline. And as you mentioned, all of these workers, they're currently receiving unemployment benefits. The question is, when things do start to open up, what will their job prospects be? You know, at the worst part of the recession, Dana, we knew that there were about 6.5 unemployed job seekers for every single position that was open. That dropped to below 1 just in February, and a lot of economists that I speak to are worried that that competition for the jobs that are going to be shrinking in the next months, it's going to push down wages. So we're very concerned about what that intermediate term outlook is, meaning through the end of this year for many U.S. workers.
Yeah, even if you do get the job, who knows what that salary will be, if it can be comparable. And speaking of the businesses and small businesses specifically, there were a lot that were shut out of those first rounds of PPP loans. Big businesses got them instead. Sort of a twofold question. How did that happen where we saw bigger businesses getting them? And in this second round, will the small businesses now be taken care of?
Well, the reason it happened is that the banks were really ill-equipped to set up this loan facility so quickly. And so they naturally went to the clients with whom they had a pre-existing relationship. Many of those clients were big businesses. We should also note that if you're a big business, you probably have a chief financial officer or a controller who's going to be on top of that process and really be able to access the bank's funds quickly. Now, whether or not we get smaller businesses involved in this next phase is questionable. I'm hearing that the backlog of the folks who have already been approved means that this new round of funding, about $320 billion more into the program, could be exhausted within days. The first round, that was exhausted within 2 weeks. And this is incredibly important because a lot of these small businesses, they will simply fail without a lifeline.
Jill, some American workers will actually earn more money by claiming these enhanced unemployment benefits. So what makes the most sense for the job market right now?
It is such a hard decision. If I'm a worker and I could earn, say, 14, 15 bucks an hour going back on my boss's payroll, but I'm earning more than that as I sit home safely with my family, why would I go back onto the payrolls? Now, that said, what's really going to be interesting is what will happen in a few months, because frankly, if you make the decision not to go back to work and collect your unemployment, you don't know what the job market's going to be in 4 or 5 months. So there is a risk in doing that. Of course, I understand it. A lot of economists that I speak to say what they would have rather seen instead of the PPP program, a program putting more money directly into workers' pockets for a longer period of time, maybe $1,200 checks for a few months in a row. So we don't have that. This is what we have, Jeff, and it's a really hard situation.
It certainly is. All right, Jill, thank you very much.